What's up, everybody? It's Chris Curls. I'm back. This is the Highest Underground Show. I hope everybody's doing good. I want to talk to y'all about a few things. It's been a minute since I uploaded a video, and yeah, I'm new to all this anyway, and I didn't know it takes like 3 days to upload a video to YouTube. It takes forever. And my friend told me, I guess you have to have a serious badass computer or some serious badass internet, and my MacBook is old, so I don't have the best computer, I guess. But a couple things I want to talk about, because it seems like the world has gone crazy over this coronavirus. All of these people walking around with masks on. Costco here in Denver, I think, is going to make a policy, I guess, where you have to have a mask to come in the store, and I can't complain with that. They're a private business. They can, create a policy, but it's one thing. There's a few counties here in Colorado that I guess are saying that you have to have a mask on anytime you go out in public, or they're going to write you a misdemeanor ticket. And something like that is not a law. So what statute and what law are they writing a ticket for? Because a lot of this seems like, like the other video that I posted about people just giving up their rights, and that's what's happening. And, I was at the grocery store. Anytime you go to the grocery store, everyone has on masks. It's crazy. And some of them, like, you look at these people like, man, do you just believe everything the politicians and media tell you? Because you go on Twitter and Facebook and all the social media, and it seems like people are always bashing Trump. It's so funny. They bash Trump and call him a liar and he's corrupt. And I'm like, well, most presidents and politicians are. Name some that aren't. Yet they listen to these people when they come on television, and the media is the same way. And I've told y'all earlier in another video, when someone lies to you over and over and over again, when do you stop believing what they tell you? Because it seems like the media and our government has done that over and over and over again, yet we still believe when they come and give a press conference and a news briefing about COVID-19. Guys, it's getting ridiculous. If you listen to some of the doctors who are on the front line, there was 2 doctors in California who came out and posted a video the other day and got slammed on social media because of it. Just because they were reporting their numbers and their situations in California, and basically saying how the death rate is not as high as they seem, and that doctors are being pressured to write on death certificates COVID-19 and coronavirus. It's, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously administration at the hospital is pushing down and pressuring these doctors to do this so they can inflate the numbers, and that's what I talked about on another video, and that's what they're doing. Total deaths across the board are staying basically the same as they were last year. It isn't like we have a spike in deaths from we did last year or 2 years ago. And a lot of the diseases that are normally given, as the cause of death, like pneumonia and heart disease and heart attacks. Someone may have, just a bad immune system. They had a heart attack 2 years ago. They've been in and out of the hospital with different surgeries, and then they die from smoking for 40 years, and they put COVID-19 as the cause of death because they had it at the time. And like I said, the testing, they don't test for the specific virus. It has never been isolated. It has never been, taken from one person, isolated, put in another person, and made that person sick. It's never been done. And that's how, according to Koch's postulates, that you have to do. It's like the gold standard in the medical industry. And they're not going by the gold standard. They're searching, when they do the test for the COVID-19, they take some lung fluid or a sample of fluid, and they mix a little chemical in there and swish it around, and then they look for a certain sequence of RNA. And if you have that sequence of RNA, you are test positive for COVID. Now, the thing is that sequence of RNA may be something that your body produces whenever you're sick with anything else. Like I said, they're not isolating the virus. They're just looking for basically symptoms and then writing COVID-19. So it's just like these people are believing everything that these doctors are telling them. And like I said, Dr. Fauci fast-tracked AZT back in the 80s, killed all these people. AZT was a horrible drug. It still is. They rarely use it. I'm not even sure if they do use it. I'll have to look into that. But, you know, as I'm at the grocery store and all these people are wearing masks, and I feel like I'm in a freaking emergency room on Grey's Anatomy or something. And some people just wearing bandanas over their face like that's going to do anything. It doesn't make any sense to me. But then I started thinking about it, and these people want to wear this mask. They want to wear it. There's something that's psychological that they want to wear this mask instead of, and thinking that it's going to actually help them in any way when they don't really have anything to be worried about. Coronavirus isn't that deadly. It's not as deadly as they're saying it is, if there's even something called coronavirus. I'm just not sure. I have to do more research because I really don't trust the media and the government. So whenever they tell me something, I tend to look in the opposite direction. But guys, just be thankful. There's so many things in life. An average person these days is wealthier than a king and queen 500 years ago. I mean, think about it, guys. We can order food from anywhere around the world and have it delivered to us within an hour with this little electronic device that we hold in our hand. No kings could do that back in the day. I mean, you know, all this technology that we have, you see like ants building up an anthill in the backyard, and you come and just kick it over. Then you see them the next day just building it up again. And we're building it up, building it up, building it up. And I used to say, when are we going to just relax and enjoy this anthill that we've built and stop working so hard? And I think we've kind of stopped doing that because people don't like to work hard. You know, I do manual labor and I love it. And I think as humans, we need to do physical labor or physical work. It's almost like inherent and natural in us. If we don't, I don't think we're not going to be as happy unless we do something like that. When people exercise and go to the gym, or if you have a physical job, your body craves it and yearns it, and it's great for your body. It's great for your mind. Relieves stress. So be thankful. Be thankful that if you have 2 hands and 2 feet and all your organs and everything is working properly. Life is perspective. It's all perspective. There's always somebody who has it worse. And we sit here and complain all the time about, you know, the obstacle in our way. And the obstacle is the way. When you see the obstacle, that's the sign that you should go that way. But as most people, we try to go around it and we don't want to deal with it. That's not the way life is, and you'll learn that as you get older. I think many people have, and many people, there's a lot of people probably that will never learn that lesson. But for people to experience true happiness, perspective is everything. Realizing how lucky you are, how blessed you are, everything that God has given you. You know, and we talk about everybody makes their New Year's resolutions, and I've had 3 of them that I thought of them 4 years ago, and I haven't done it. It wasn't anything like, oh, I need to start exercising, I need to stop smoking, I need to stop drinking, stop doing drugs, start spending more time with my kids. Sorry, y'all, you hear the coughing in the background. I've got a pug and a French bulldog right below me, and they snore and snort and cough and hack constantly. So sorry if you hear that in the background. But these New Year's resolutions that I had, one of them was I wanted to walk down my neighborhood and pass out little flyers for my neighbors to have like a block party at the end of the street, like once every 2 months. and just get to know your neighbors, because no one does anymore. I mean, you could practically get inside your garage in your car, pull out, go to work in the parking garage, go in the office, come back home, pull in the garage, and never even see or talk to your neighbors, your coworkers, unless you have a job where you work alone. But you can literally live your life without even talking to your neighbors a lot. And we do. Most people in the city, I think we do. I know my neighbors a little bit, but we don't talk like we should. And we don't discuss things. I mean, that was a huge part of society back in the day, that people would meet outside and talk in the square or in the neighborhood or just wherever it was. It was a big deal until television came along. And once television came along, people didn't go outside as much and they stayed home getting programmed. So I wanted to go meet my neighbors. And another thing is that I have a lot of older neighbors around me, and I'm sure many of y'all do as well. And one of the things we need to start doing, guys, you see all these old people who are scared to death because of coronavirus, and they're cooped up in their home and they're isolated, alone. That's not the way they should be. Don't be scared you're going to hurt these old people. You're not going to pass anything to them that you wouldn't normally do in any other year that you've ever lived in your life, whether a cold or a flu. You're not going to kill these people. Do not let the government and the media shame you into thinking that you're going to hurt and kill other people by living your life. That's not how this works, and they're trying to make you feel that way. It's a shame tactic that they're using against us for not going along with what they say. Now, older people, my neighbors who are older, I've started, growing my vegetables. This year already, I'm about to plant them in the ground. They say in Colorado, don't plant your vegetables in the ground until after Mother's Day, because we'll always get a late frost in the first week of May. And if you plant them right now, even though we've got 70, 60, 70, 80 degree weather over the next couple weeks, last week, we'll probably still get some frost, and they'll come over and kill your vegetables and your flowers. So you don't plant anything till after Mother's Day. That's the rule here, I guess. And these older people, a lot of them know how to garden. So the younger people, you work to buy food and spend probably a lot of money on food, when most of y'all have a yard that you can have a garden in and grow some of your own food. It'll help out a little bit. Every little bit helps. Why not grow some of your own food? It's great for kids to see how to do that. It's great for adults to see how to do that, especially because most people have become so detached from this type of lifestyle. Being around nature. You ever notice how attached people are to their dogs and their cats? I mean, these people, it's like a family member. And it always has been in the past as well. However, if you look at 100 to 120 years ago, everyone in the country knew how to saddle and bridle a horse. They probably were growing their own vegetables. They knew how to do all kind of things manually with their hands, dealing with nature, looking at shrubs and bushes and trees and knowing their name and what they are and what they're good for. Nowadays, most people walk down the street, they can't name shit. I mean, we've become detached from nature when we used to be so close to it. And now you see people when they go camping or they go out in nature and hike, and they just, I just love being out here. I just feel so good. Of course you do. You're part of nature. You're not detached from it. You're part of it. You are nature. And with all this technology and all these boxes that we've built to separate ourselves from it and from the animals, we don't get that feeling anymore. And we all walk around like something's missing inside of us. Well, that's it. It's one of it anyway. So, getting back to growing things. And the older generation still remembers that most of them probably did that with their mom and grandma. So they have a lot to teach you. And you need to listen and learn and spend time with them. We have a very, very large influx of old people with the baby boomer generation getting old and starting to die off here soon in the next couple of decades. Now, I say over the next couple of decades rather. So I think it's a win-win situation. The younger generation needs to learn some of these skills that the older generation grew up with, and the older generation needs the company. And they need to feel respected and admired and wanted. Old people love to feel that way. They love for you to take an interest into anything that they're doing. And if they do like sewing, gardening, think about the things that on a farm that they had to do with, like I said, dealing with animals, cows, horses, sheep, goats, all of that. A lot of old people grew up in places and situations like that. So getting to know my neighbors, and especially the older ones, and spending more time with them. And like I said, I work as an electrician, so I'm able to help some of these people if they need their yards raked. I have one of my neighbors is in a wheelchair right beside me, so I always shovel the snow for his in my house. And the other one right beside me is a music director for a Catholic church, and I always shovel his snow a lot as well. And sometimes I come out and they've shoveled mine, or at least the Catholic next door has. So we have a good relationship here, and the thing is, I think most people should start doing these things. I'm going to do it in the next episode. I'm going to let y'all know how it goes. I'm going to tell you all about it, what people will say. I'm just going to go make some flyers, and I'm going to give it out to my neighbors and talk about getting together as a neighborhood and start talking and communicating and relating to one another. So that was one. On these New Year's resolutions. Sorry guys, I'm bringing it all the way back. The next one was after New Year's, y'all know how the gyms can be super duper packed. Everybody and their mama's in there, and the people who regularly go to the gym every day, we're always just like, oh god damn, it's going to be so crowded over the next couple of months, and then people will fall off and then it's back to normal again. However, think about if you were really obese and you want to start working out. A lot of times you need encouragement, and you need to start going to the gym. It's a matter of discipline. You have to pray about it. You have to ask for it. And you just have to do it. I haven't always been the most disciplined person, but I am now, but I'm still improving. However, just going to the gym can be intimidating for these people, right? You weigh 350 pounds, and you're going to a gym and everybody's like hot and walking around and muscle, and you don't know anybody, and you don't know how to use the machines, you don't know where they are, you don't really know what to do. And yet the people who go there all the time should be helping these people out, and that's including myself. However, I don't do it. I don't talk to people at the gym usually. And I thought about putting an ad on Craigslist about meeting up in the park, and just putting an ad out there for older people and people who are overweight who may be intimidated to go to the gym, to meet at the park every Saturday 10 a.m. and I'll lead a little workout, and it'll almost be like building a community again, like the neighbors, but we'll be doing something healthy and getting these people into the routine of working out, because once you get into the routine, it's easier to keep. It's not foolproof, but it's easier to keep. So that was the other one, getting to know my neighbors, especially the older people, and helping obese people who want to start working out, start being healthier by going someplace first that's not the gym, and then maybe moving on from there. I almost think the gyms, like let's say if a person has a BMI that's really high or whatever, and they're someone who's very, very overweight, I almost think that gyms should get a tax rebate by giving these people a free membership. Maybe it's a subsidy of the government, like an incentive to help these people lose weight. It's going to help us in the long run, because these people are going to have all kind of health issues that are going to occur as long as they keep living an unhealthy lifestyle, right? So it's just going to burden the country with medical bills versus maybe giving away $30 a month to people who are obese until they get it down, and work. Once they get it down, you don't need it anymore. And maybe that may be a bad incentive where they don't want to work it down then, so they can keep getting the money, but they never get the money. They only get the free membership. So I don't know. that's something to think about. But this whole thing with Corona has got me thinking that, you know, people really don't know history, and much less different versions of history. I mean, I guess if, you know, if you're English, you're going to think differently about the Revolutionary War than an American, right? So there are many different versions of history. We read the American version always, but there's many different versions, and it's good to read those because then you get different aspects and you realize why people do them. But when you just hear the American version, you have a very, very biased view of things because we never talk negatively about ourselves, and that's how our history books have been written. And, you know, because of this, people don't realize how fragile our freedom and liberty is. It can go away at any moment. Someone could invade us, and when, who knows? Because we're all fighting amongst ourselves, and our military is off stationed in 100 or, you know, different military bases around the world. Actually, I think it might be, is it 100 or is it 1,000? I can't remember. But anyway, so sorry, I'll be right back. I knew that was going to happen. But anyway, sorry. So people not really knowing history as much. Where I'm going with this is that our founding fathers fought for something and gave us an inheritance in a diamond. And we've traded it in for coal. And they would be so disappointed in us if they saw the state that our nation is in right now, especially giving away our freedoms that they fought and died and bled for, and over a flu, a cold. So I love the military. Don't get me wrong. What I'm about to say, I'm not anti-military. I'm pro-soldiers. However, you see on social media and everywhere on the news, and when people talk about our vets and our military, and they're fighting for our freedom, there's not a soldier who's, you know, in our military in the last 100 to 120 years who's fought for our freedom. The only soldiers that have fought for our freedom were the ones in the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812. That's it. They never had anybody else attack us and you know, try to subjugate us and actually have a chance. So the soldiers now, I pray for their protection. I'm glad we have them, because without the soldiers and giving us a border of protection, like, you know, what history, empires just collapse. People will invade and take it over and then, you know, enslave the people, punish them, torture them, who knows. However, our military needs to come and protect our freedoms. We need them to come home, and we need them to depose this corrupt government that we have, because that would be fighting for our freedom. Because our government, groups like the CIA, the FBI, and people call them the deep state. These organizations have been corrupt for a long time. There's no transparency. We don't know what they're doing. Everything's a classified document that you can't read. And then even when it's 50 years later and we read about it and we realize they didn't tell us the whole story time and time and time again. And they're almost a government working within a government. And they actually control the little facade government that we see. And all the politicians. The politicians don't have any power. These people are puppets who are paid by the oligarchs, by the corporations, by the very few owners of the media companies. And we all need to start asking our soldiers to come home and protect us. Because if they don't, I fear that there's going to be bad things looming in the future. People are already talking about civil war and the nation's going to break up into different factions, and I think it would be best, to be honest with you. They tried to do it during the Civil War. Who knows how the country would be right now if all the states were kind of different now. But having so much power in the federal government, which has basically been communist for a long time. We'll talk about that on another video. But our government was basically taken over with the creation of the CIA and other various groups after World War II. So everybody who has social media, start asking your soldiers and these guys who are fighting for wars for rich businessmen in other countries that are so poor that they can never hurt us. These people, soldiers now aren't fighting for our freedoms, they're fighting for rich people and taking over resources from other countries and making sure the supply lines, like the opium coming from Afghanistan, going to the pharmaceuticals, getting into all the pills that these doctors are prescribing us, and on the street with illegal heroin and opiates. It's a big deal. We need these soldiers to stop doing that and to come home and protect us and to fight for our freedom. They want to fight for our freedom and die for our country, but they need to come home and help us, because we've got some serious issues right now. We've got a tyrannical communist regime trying to take what little rights that we have, that we still have, away, because we're just willingly giving them over. Guys, thanks for watching. Y'all be safe, and remember, it's all perspective. Whatever you're going through, if you got tough choices ahead of you, look at what the hard choices are. Those are the obstacle. That's usually the way. I'm praying for you. I hope everybody stays safe, stay strong. Keep reading books. If you're not reading, start reading books. Stop listening to the media. Stop listening to 99.9% of the politicians, or if you do, listen to all of them, but just vet their information. Don't just take them at face value. These people lie. There's always an agenda. Always. So, peace out, guys.